I better cough now, too. Hello, and welcome to Oily Trash Movies, the only podcast where two people say unfunny things for an entire hour, but only one of them is actually recorded. We're your hosts. I'm Daddy WarBux.
And I'm Bublegum Barbie.
And today, let me make sure I'm recording everything this time.
So last episode, the moment when I asked him, "Are you recording yourself, War?" He did not. He was not recording himself. He had to redo all his lines. So if you feel like he was off and he seemed that he was too much concentrated, it's because he had to retake everything.
Dude, it would have been quicker to just re-record the entire episode, but Bubba was too lazy and left all the work to me.
True. He did pretty good, though.
Thank you. Yeah, so if you liked the editing on last week's episode, make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And give me a comment. Be like, hey, War, I really appreciate you editing this episode. Because, that makes me feel good.
So much work. Yeah. Put so much work, and it's just funny, surprisingly.
This can be a very thankless job, recording a podcast for 750,000 weekly viewers, and all we ask for is just a little bit of respect.
I know.
Right? Is that too much to ask for?
I know, right?
So
I do want to thank Bublegum Barbie and Daddy WarBux for watching every single episode and liking some of them. You guys rock.
I've only recently gotten into this podcast. I'll be honest. I didn't watch the first 15 episodes or so.
Yeah, you didn't.
How did you know?
You have to watch because you would tell me all the time. And you were like, oh gosh, it's terrible. And I was like, did you watch it? It's so funny. Specifically, our first episode, which is a rough episode, but it's hilarious to this day. And I used to watch that so much, and I would just always crack up laughing. It's just so funny, and Ward never watched it. He's like, I hate that episode. I hate it. I was like,
actually, that's not true. We did a second podcast where we watched and reacted to and reviewed the first episode of our podcast.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing because we couldn't tell which one from each other.
We didn't know who was talking when. It was a difficult, confusing moment, and then we even tried to watch the recording of us reacting to our first episode, and it just got so muddled. But
yeah.
Go back and watch our first episode. You can see how we've evolved. We had terrible avatars back then. Now we've got super cool AI generated avatars.
We had a terrible editor back then.
Someone who did not know how to use Photoshop.
Or how to spell.
Yeah. Speaking of spelling, our last episode's title was misspelled, but today we're going to be watching Death Valley, which is a Shudder original. But before we get into that, last week, wow, we watched Robotica Destructiva, and we were kind of blown away, I think.
Yeah, when I watched the episode last week, in its entirety, how do you say
entirety?
That word? Yes, I did like that movie, and I still like that movie. Again, I'm just repeating the same things that I was saying. I think you said it was fun many times. It was fun. It is fun, and I will throw it at a house party. But sorry,
I've gone down the rabbit hole of these guys. This is their third movie.
That's the third movie? Is that what you said?
That's the third movie. I think it's the first with the 3 ladies, but the 4 guy robots were the stars of the first 2, and they're actually an avant-garde art troupe. They play music. They're a band. The 4 of them are a band, which makes sense why.
The music video, okay.
The music video, and the whole theme of the movie was discovering music was the most powerful force. And hey, what was the director's name again?
It was Jeff Griffin.
So Sam Gaffin, the director of Robotica Destructiva, he is the bassist. We had commented that he was a star of the movie. He was one of the robots, but he's the bassist in the band. So the whole movie is scored by their music. They produce the music, they perform it live in their robot get-ups, and they're sort of... their website said they were specifically inspired by Gwar, which I could see a lot of that. But the movie itself... we both had trouble grading it on 1 to 10, and I think the reason is because it really is sort of an art house film.
It really is. I really loved how much art and visually beautiful it was, and the scores were so great. Our 100,050 devoted listeners would have probably appreciated some bit of those musics in there. It was very synthwave, like Kevin Spacey, not Kevin Spacey, that's the actor, right?
Kevin Spacey is an actor.
Yeah, I was talking about Kavinsky.
Kavinsky, sure.
Yeah, it was kind of that vibe, which I really loved. Kavinsky, he's my favorite of synthwave music. The Race Car is my favorite song. I really like that movie. That's fun. I sat on it wanting to give it more bubblegums.
But I think we can both agree that even though it's difficult to give it a rating from 1 to 10, we both agree that it's not an oily trash movie. It's probably worth seeing. The music, like you said, anyone who wants to check out the soundtrack, it is available on Spotify. The group is called The Killer Robots. And, I actually sort of complained that the third act of the movie didn't have as intense music as the first half. But I think really what happened is that I just sort of got burnt out on it. The entire movie, there's over 30-some tracks of this high-intensity, fast synthwave music.
Right.
And by the time it got to the end and 90 minutes of listening to this stuff, I think sort of like Spare Parts, where when every single scene was lit garishly, and it was really exciting at first, and then it just kind of, we got tired of it. I think that's what happened to me with the music of Robotica Destructiva.
Yeah, I did mention this. It's 75 minutes, but it's so much. It was so visually stimulating. Everything that was happening was going on. I was overstimulated and I was just exhausted to a point where towards the end of the movie, even thinking back to it, I don't really remember what happened. I remember more the beginning pieces of it. So that's a negative of that movie. And again, it is a particular type of film. It's a particular type of niche film. So I recommend it to those type of people. I recommend it to the music of filmmaking lovers. 100%. I think they would really appreciate that film now, knowing that this is a Band of Killer Robots film. If you're into that, watch it, buy it, play it in your house party.
Do it. I think that's all we have to say about Robotica Destructiva. What is it? Destructiva? Robotica Destructiva. Great film.
Destructiva.
It's the kind of movie I never would have seen if it weren't for doing this podcast, because it just looked so bad, and I'm so glad I watched it. And I wouldn't mind watching that again, or maybe going back and watching the prequel to this. The very first movie came out all the way back in 2009, and it looks very, very bad. But the second one came out, I want to say 2016, and it looks okay. So whoever was doing the digital effects on these movies has progressed light years.
Just like us.
Just like us. And that brings us to Death Valley. This is a Shudder original film. I believe the only other Shudder original we've done was Glorious, which we both loved. But this does not look like the same type of movie as Glorious.
No, it really, really, really doesn't. It's not my cup of tea kind of film, but it is It looks promising when it comes to the gore, but I think it's more of a storytelling. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be a film like what is it, 13 Ghosts, or what was it? There's like this film that I really liked. It's old. It's a horror film. She goes into a house or a cabin, and there's 13 something, 13 ghosts or 13 monsters or something. Have you seen it? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I mean, there's a movie called 13 Ghosts, which is it's pretty much a cult classic.
Yeah, that one. That's the one I'm talking about. Where
okay.
It's a woman and she goes into like something happens and the doors open.
Aren't they on a boat in that movie? Or are they in like a mansion?
I thought it was like
I don't know.
I thought it was a cabin.
Read us the synopsis of Death Valley.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be pretty oily and trashy. I think we're going to have a lot of fun watching this one. I originally, when I saw the IMDb trailer, I thought this was a movie where they were all going to be in a warehouse the entire time, but then I ended up scrubbing through the movie just to check to make sure that the subtitles and everything and all the formatting was right, and I think this is actually going to be a movie where people just run through the woods for 90 minutes.
That seems interesting. Very, very interesting.
Alright, get in here. It's time to watch this movie. Do you have anything more to add before I give it the countdown?
No.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, and go. And then, because I think a lot of the times, which you can cut all this, but basically these are movies that are made. Keep it. Okay, well, I think a lot of the times these are like independent movies that are made and sort of have a very limited release, and then what happens is, like, Shudder didn't pay to have this movie made, but they just purchased the rights to it. I could be wrong, but I think that's how this happens. Alright, I like this. We start right off with people running and covered in blood and looking stupid. We're gonna have the Indiana Jones scene where they have to dive through the closing door. That guy was serious about enforcing that lockdown. Just get this intense music as she slowly limps along.
It's like a zombie movie.
Of course, it's moving through the air ducts.
Oh my gosh, is this like a scene where it's like going into the future and it's gonna go back like...
Yeah, it's definitely gonna cut back.
Yeah. 6 months later. Oh, earlier.
Oh man, I knew there would be an Indiana Jones dive underneath the closing door. Oh, he's gonna get eaten. Cool! I got a bad feeling there's not gonna be anything to make a thumbnail out of in this movie.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. Like, you pick movies sometimes that is not gonna have, like,
I almost went through and I was like, let's just find something. Well, you know what? I thought Spare Parts was gonna have some sexy women in it. That movie was
so... Well, they were sexy women in it. It's just it wasn't sexy at all. It was trash. I'm very disappointed with that movie. I was hyped for it. It's just interesting how it's sometimes like that. Like, I was excited for Spare Parts, ended up hating it, and then I was like, I'm gonna hate Robotica Destructiva, but I wasn't really, because it looked fun, and I liked it way more than I expected.
Well, I noticed, like, when you posted it to me, I was like, oh god, this is not the one I want to watch. But then I saw that when I had originally posted it, I had written, wow, in all capital letters and, like, with exclamation marks right underneath it. So I apparently had been sold when I first saw the trailer to that.
You were probably, it was probably a wow. Like, I saw the same thing, which is why I picked it. And then I was like, wait a minute, this looks bad. And then I was like, maybe he meant like, wow, this is bad.
Honestly, I think that movie might have been one of the most surprising ones as far as expectations versus what we got.
Right.
Alright, we've got the classic remove bullet from bullet wound scene with your hemostats. Which, by the way, if anyone's listening to this, if you get shot, just leave the bullet in there until you can get appropriate medical attention. Because all you're likely to do is introduce debris and bacteria and get yourself infected. Ooh, okay, here we go. Just have a girl covered in blood in her panties as the thumbnail.
Oh.
Maybe this isn't gonna go back in time. Maybe she's gonna be in here now for 3 weeks while the mercenary team come to find her, and when they do arrive, she's like this crazed woman.
Ah.
Like, you don't understand. It's in here with us.
You know what this gives me? That locker vibe. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie?
Yeah.
Starship Troopers?
Yes, it gives me Starship Troopers vibe.
Okay, maybe Starship Troopers 2.
Ah, flashing lights. I have to put a trigger warning. I'm not hating the set.
No, it's fun. I like the guy in the rubber suit. I like
the amount of blood has been generous.
They're doing good things with this set, even though it's just a basement somewhere.
It's a Jurassic.
It's like the kitchen scene
Jurassic Park.
in Jurassic Park.
The kitchen. Yes.
Man, way to blue ball us with that tense, suspenseful scene.
I already could tell that this was filmed in California, because California is obsessed with having their actors dressed this way. With that scarf.
What, handsomely?
No, that scarf. Like, every single Californian male dresses this way. Especially the crew and cast. I mean, specifically the crew. All the crew males dress like these two individuals. Like, so many, like more than half of the crew members own that scarf.
That exact scarf?
Yes.
I guess I gotta get me one of these scarves if I want to break into the industry.
Yeah, you need to, yes.
Send me a link on Amazon of where I can buy that. So our soldier hero has a pregnant wife at home, of course, and a best friend who's clearly gonna die. I'm already sad that his best friend's gonna die.
I know. I'm so sad. He's so handsome too. He has the hat backwards.
Oh man.
I'm gonna fall in love with him more if he puts on sunglasses, because it's so bright outside. If only he had something to cover his eyes with. Okay, so I'm gonna give a fashion tip here to the males. The reason why these two males look so handsome is because they're dressed in layers. That is the trick.
Duly noted. Do you hear that, listeners? Not only is this a movie podcast, it also come for fashion tips.
So if you have, like, for example, if it's summer, right? It's like, but it's summer. It's so freaking hot outside. Wear
muscle shirt.
You wear a muscle shirt, and then like maybe a what are those called? Like a light cotton over thingy jacket. It's not a jacket though. It's not what I'm trying to say. Here I am trying to give fashion tips, and I can't recall what fashion pieces are called right now.
I'll have a muscle shirt on, and then like a button-down T-shirt that I throw on over top of it. But I only put like 2 buttons buttoned on it.
See, that's perfect. So you could wear, okay, now with the button-up shirt, you roll the sleeves as high as you can. Hot. If your button-up has a pocket, you put a little
pack of cigarettes in there.
Or cigarettes, or a pen, if you're that nerdy hot guy.
You have the pocket protector, like you're the angry Nintendo nerd.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love how their mercenary group has a sigil. This woman is reading this as best she can.
How do they have this footage?
She sent out a distress call, I believe.
But she was able to edit all of this for them to watch.
This is a really highly produced mission briefing.
They got the Call of Duty outfit cosplay for this film.
These guys should have entered the Call of Duty cosplay Coachella.
Yeah. See, he's such a serious guy that he just wears, where his friend has a full-on helmet, he just wears his hat backwards. It's just some dude with a beanie.
He's got a metal detector. Wait, just shoot him.
What the heck is going on?
Why is this guy so afraid?
I know. Like, I was giving fashion advice that I lost the plot of the movie.
Everybody in this movie is so well dressed. Even this hipster out. He's got his leather jacket for his metal detecting excursion. Yeah, that's such a nice jacket. I wouldn't want to wear that going through the woods. You wear your ratty flannel.
Or camouflage. So that
yeah.
See, that's
you wear your
that's why
suit.
They found him. Yeah. They should wear the suit that was in Float, the Float monster.
Yeah, I just watched that episode last night. I'm going back through our catalog now that I'm into the podcast.
So that's why reviews have been going up. I want to give a special thanks to our biggest fan, War. Thank you for going back and watching all our episodes.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I've actually been watching the edited MP4 files that I have backed up.
Oh, dang it. I can't wait until you watch Jurassic Thunder. See you on the other side.
She's kind of hot.
I hope her hair, like...
it slowly becomes untangled. And
yes.
She becomes hotter and hotter through the movie as her clothes rip off.
Yes. This is a zombie movie. Oh my gosh, this is like Call of Duty.
These guys don't seem to be trained in any sort of tactical combat. Like, why aren't they taking cover? They're near a river, too. What if they're literally fighting the monsters from Float?
So they're in a war? Is that what's happening right now? And then they're also dealing with zombies?
I'm not sure. You were giving fashion advice during all of the exposition.
Just getting the fellow listeners of Early Trash Movie how to be handsome.
Listen, if you want to look good, you wear a black turtleneck and black running slacks.
And you make sure your hand vein is popping.
You gotta have popping forearm veins.
Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, these explosions look pretty good. I don't even know if those were CGI explosions. They looked kind of real.
I don't know. Like, these men are like the hottest men I've ever seen in my life. And I think it might be the suits and it might be the fact that they're guns and they're just like being manly.
Maybe it's that they're in great shape and they have square jaws and full beards and luscious curls.
Yeah. I can smell the testosterone from here.
They have brotherly camaraderie. They're killing Okay, make sure you cut that last one. Oh shit. He's been captured.
Shoot. This is a movie for everyone. There's like good-looking women. And these like handsomely attractive men.
Hopefully we get some more women though. This movie's been a bit of a sausage fest so far.
You got a better one? No, I like it, cowboy.
Their audio there was a little rough, but it's fine.
I thought that too. Like, their voices are mixed so low compared to the swelling music and the explosions and gunshots. Oh no, the haunted river's got them.
I'm impressed that they were able to like actually have the actors in the river just like really.
It definitely felt like a cut right before they jumped to swap out the stuntmen for the actual jump off the cliff.
Which is still very dangerous. Like, I can't believe they actually had people go through that. Look at that. That's like scary. These actors, the stunt guys and actors, did not get paid enough for this.
That is some torrential water there. Like, it's been raining for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oh no, he lost his hat. Look for your hat. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh yay, he found it.
That's his bro's hat though, isn't it?
No, it's his hat.
Oh, okay. I can't tell these people apart. Like, after he took his hat off, they looked identical.
It's easy. One is handsome, the other one is handsome.
We're actually saved us some time. I imagine we're only a couple clicks out.
Well, we took a shortcut.
Yeah.
Below them,
Us drowning for a second was a great idea.
We should jump back in and let it take us the rest of the way.
Put in good words, and he kill you not so slowly, yeah?
I love how this actor, like, really went the most stereotypical Russian sound. You killed our men. We shoot first. I don't care who starts. You
He is the most stereotypic Russian I've ever seen. And he's jacked. This dude is jacked. I wonder if there's going to be a big fist fight scene with him at the end.
These two have good chemistry together.
I hope they're friends in real
life.
I
believe that they're friends. I can't wait to see the monster again. And great detail. And how amazing it's gonna look in comparison to Jeepers Creatures. She took a shower. Look at her perfect hair.
She's looking clean.
It's okay.
She spruced up because she knew the men were coming.
Yeah, she did.
Man, this guy in the rubber suit is so strong.
I know.
Dude, if there were no subtitles, I would not be able to hear anything these people are saying.
I know, the music is so loud. I hate when that happens. I mean, admittedly, I've done it before with my editing, and I hate it, and I'm so sorry, guys, sometimes, but yeah. It is what it is. This movie is so serious that we haven't said anything funny.
I know, this is the least funny movie we've seen yet. I do like the monster. I like monster movies. I like bad monster movies. I like good monster movies. I like passable monster movies. Wait, you're getting into the air ducts now? That's literally the lair of the beast.
Anyone else think it's weird that we're going into a vent and we just saw one go into a vent?
It's literally what I was complaining about.
I mean, it's a good strategy because the monster himself would be like, they wouldn't be that dumb.
That's the classic Alien formula, where you have monsters running around in the air ducts constantly. What if they, like, find its bed, and where it sleeps up in there, and it's got teddy bears?
Oh, yeah.
I bet that's gonna come into play later, where the monster thinks, like, they're gonna use it to lure the monster.
They're gonna trap it. They're gonna trap the monster. And then say...
By saying unfunny things the entire time.
Yeah, I would have gotten away with it too if it were for you meddling unfunny people. Wait, so who owns this facility? The Americans or the Russians?
I don't know. Who cares? Like how they just leave every door behind them wide open. I feel like not enough is going on now.
Yeah. How long is this movie? It's not a 3-hour movie. Okay.
No, it's 93 minutes.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's not a cryo, is it? Okay, so I'm gonna say this already. This has too much story. Like, I could have done without this. Like, just cut it.
Well, I know that their goal is to escape, but it doesn't seem like they have a clear decision path for where they're going, why they're going, and what they plan to do when they get there. Like, all we need is one line, like, hey, listen, if we follow this service tunnel, it's going to take us to Section 2A, and from there, we can cross into the unrestricted zone. That's all you needed.
Yeah, you don't need any of this. Like, this whole, already 20 minutes of them just leaving doors open.
Leaving literal trails of breadcrumbs behind them. One of the guys should be eating a sandwich and just, like, chunks of bread are falling for the monster to follow.
Yeah.
Rip.
She had that McDonald's purple guy milkshake. What's that McDonald's purple guy's name?
Always spot on. Grimace. She did the Grimace Shake challenge. Grimace Shake the movie.
That's how they're all turning into monsters. The scientist had a McDonald's party with the Grimace Shake milkshake to celebrate the birthday of one of Grimace. And okay, it's getting too old, so never mind. I'll stop talking now.
No, keep going. It was just getting good.
Okay.
The scientists are all they were performing experiments to see what made the Grimace Shake so good, and then they accidentally hybridized Grimace's DNA with alien DNA, and that's why they all died. And that's why all these kids on TikTok are dying, because they're drinking alien DNA. Oh my god. Who the hell is this guy? Well, I'm glad that aluminum IV pole is stopping that invincible monster. These Russians look way more prepared than the American mercenaries. Damn, the science lady is a cold hard killer now. She's like the woman from Freeze who duct tapes 3 guns together. Hello, Bubble?
Hey, sorry, I'm still here.
Alright. You hadn't said anything unfunny in such a long time. I got nervous. Oh my god, a baby crib.
Oh my gosh.
Adam was a baby the whole time. She's been having sex with the alien monster.
Sorry, the whole reason why I was quiet is because I have received a phone call, so. Got that.
He didn't get attacked because he's one of his own.
I love how the makeup department hair just be like on point.
The makeup department in this movie's on point.
He's he's a McDonald's patty gone wrong.
He's literally made out of pink slime.
Like, all we're really gonna have on this episode was just me giving fashion advice and you saying how much you love monster movies.
I do love monster movies.
It's hard for me because this is not my kind of movie. I wouldn't really pick up this type of film.
This is definitely a Netflix and chill movie.
Yeah, like I wouldn't. Combat movies are not really my thing. Man, this guy was so massive and so big. Like, we didn't see enough of him. I feel like.
Is that the blood tube coming up his shirt? Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Did she get stabbed too?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, it kind of makes sense now that she was able to become super badass because she's part alien, or she is a full alien, I guess.
This is like Jurassic Games scene.
Hey, this is exactly like Jurassic Games because there was a random rope.
Already new step and ready to go. This is cool.
How appropriate. Pull her back down into the dungeon.
Oh no. Close the door. Oh, she's still there. Well, that's not really smart. Like, throw her back into the hatch because when there's campers or hikers, yeah. And like, hide it with freaking rocks or something. Because, like, hikers and bikers could just see a dead woman and then they, like, go and investigate and all those things are out there and he's down there. It's an outbreak all over again.
The classic zombie formula. Oh, I guess he is a zombie. How did he get infected? This movie sucked.
Yeah, I did.
Alright, before we start talking about the movie, let me find this guy's blood tube. So he gets stabbed. She gets stabbed. There. Do you see the tube? Twitching? Yeah. Hold on, I have to hide your face.
Wow, makeup props team.
The tube pumping the blood up that's pouring out of his hands.
They were literally in the forest and they couldn't wash that clothes, so they just like, because I was going to say, just do extra takes, but then I realized that they were in the forest and they probably don't have a change of clothes.
I have that exact shirt, but I don't fill it out as much as that guy does.
Yeah, that guy fills it out very, very Arnold-like.
All right, let me mute this. All right, what do we have to say about this movie?
It's not my type of film. I wouldn't have watched this otherwise. Uh,
Honestly, I don't think I would recommend this.
I probably wouldn't recommend it. I mean, I don't hate it, but I also don't love it.
It's bland, is what I would call it.
I think it was too. This is too big of a script. They had to have so many.
I agree. This
needed
movie
to
tried to do everything. It needed to focus on one of the aspects, and
yeah,
I don't know. It's nothing shines in this movie. It just seems it's very almost paint by numbers, where you've got your action scene at the beginning. I think obviously there's influence from Alien with the monster scuttling around in the air shafts. I also want to say this tries to rip off Predator, where you have the action scene in the woods where it's just very traditional machoism, machine gun, everybody's shooting, there's explosions, and then it becomes an alien horror monster movie. But this movie's not Predator.
this movie is Call of Duty Zombies edition.
Call of Duty Zombie. Almost exactly right.
Yeah, this movie. So I would recommend this movie to Fear. Probably love it so much. Like, he would probably be all about this film. He would probably get the movie poster and hang it up his room.
He would have the special edition Blu-ray with the tin box.
He would make the cosplay to the T. So I would recommend this to, like, people who are really into Call of Duty, because it feels very Call of Duty-esque. But that's it. I think really the problem is the script was just too. It was the script. I had issues with the script.
I also had some issues with the script.
But the costumes were fine, the actors were great, the lighting was great, the camera
cinematography was also good.
Yeah.
Sound mixing very poor. You get an F on the sound mixing, because every time there was music, it was too loud. Now
you lost the dialogue.
We may be listening to like a surround sound version on just a 2-channel headset. That might be part of it, but from what we heard, I think the sound mixing had some serious flaws.
Yeah, I agree, because there was like that scene in the forest where I said, wow, that sound was really bad. It's because the actors weren't mic'd. And that was a huge issue, which is why we could definitely hear the difference. But so audio and the script are the things that just doesn't really make it, but everything else, it's good. I am not angry that I watched this movie. I like the idea of it.
When she kills,
I like the dynamic between the two guys. I believe that they were brotherhood. I like the Russians and the conflict in a sense,
Right here where she kills this other giant Russian guy, I was like, oh my god, like, that's sure is convenient that she became a badass warrior, but that's who she was all along, and she was just pretending to be a weak, insignificant science lady. I felt like this movie had no substance. It was very competently put together. Everybody looks great. All of the sets look good. The explosions, the gunfights looked good. Obviously, it's not at the level of, as we mentioned, it's not Saving Private Ryan, but it is a competent war sequence. It's a competent horror sequence. But at the end of the day, I felt like all of the interesting aspects of this film that could have been explored were not explored. Chiefly, this woman being part of this science experiment. The whole biblical motif that was brought in do something with that? Was she, trying to create a race of new humans? What was her motivation? She said she wanted her son to impregnate the main character's wife or girlfriend. Why? Is she actually a biblical monster? Are they actually aliens? We had Preacher, we had Moses, we had the Nephilims, or I don't remember what those biblical creatures were called, but then all of the biblical stuff just fizzled out.
Yeah, like even like the like their friendship, the two dudes as well. It was weird because in the beginning it didn't feel that way. Like in the end it's like, oh yeah, we're brothers. Because he really seemed like he wasn't really like a brotherhood type of dude, I don't know. There's just so much, like you said.
Well, he did redeem himself. He was kind of an asshole. And then he even said, I had to show sacrifice to be the Godfather. And that's exactly how you construct redemption in a story or a movie or a book. You have sacrifice. And the ultimate sacrifice, as we all know from the Bible and Jesus Christ, is when you die. When you die, you make the ultimate sacrifice, and thus you do it for the ultimate redemption. He died at the end, but then so did our hero. I didn't like that there was no closure. It was completely pointless to kill the main character. I want that epilogue of where he gets home to his wife that we had established at the beginning and his upcoming newly born son. Let him have that. And then you have the exact same ending where the zombie jumps up at the end, but it's the I don't even know what his name was, the guy who sacrificed himself, or maybe the woman. Like, you had multiple dead people who were infected that any of them could have been the sequel teaser where it's like, oh, they thought they had killed them all, but now the infection's spreading again, which every zombie movie does. Yeah, why couldn't you give us our hero coming home to his baby?
Yeah, I'm indifferent about this film. Again, like, I don't hate that I watched it, but I
think indifferent is the operative word there. That's exactly how I feel as well.
When it comes to filmmaking, it did well. I think really the biggest issue was the script and the audio. And that's pretty much it. Which is it's not a huge crime because that's what we have in really big filmmaking, the Disney movies and DC. The script really, really sucks. So I'm not angry about watching it. Overall, this movie feels like one of those movies. It feels like a movie.
It's a dumb monster movie. If you like to watch dumb monsters get shot at, then watch. If you like the Resident Evil series, which I think, for as fun as those movies are, and for as many fans as they have, I think most people can say, objectionably, the Resident Evil film series is trash. All of those movies suck. And this movie kind of sucked, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's not offensively bad. It's not bad where you're just... It's not cryo. It's not Jeepers Creepers. I don't think I'll call this oily trash, but I'm only going to give it 1 or 2 WarBux.
Wow. I'm going to give this a flat 0.
Okay.
I just like
indifferent.
Indifferent, yeah. It's
Didn't
just
love
a
it or
flat
hate
0.
it. We're going to forget it. Like, as much as we hate Jeepers Creepers, we bring it up almost every single episode.
As much as we couldn't finish Cryo, we bring it up almost every episode.
This movie, I don't think we're ever going to bring up ever again.
Yeah, we're going to forget this movie existed. This is where our episode number is always, if we ever mess up our number episodes, it's because of this film. We completely forgot that we watched this.
Forgot to count it.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
I wish we had more to say, but this movie is just so uninteresting and forgettable. Yeah, put it on, whatever. If you're just sitting on the couch, clicking endlessly through Hulu or Netflix, or this is specifically Shudder, and you see this, You know what? You'll probably be fine. Drink a beer, cuddle with your girlfriend. 90 minutes of your life you spend somewhat entertained. And what more could you ask for? It's not. This movie is not art, I would say.
It's not. It's not. But I do want to say, like, everybody did a job. Like, the actors weren't bad. The costume wasn't bad. The props wasn't bad. Like, lighting wasn't bad. Like,
the set. I did love this underground bunker that they were in.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved everything. I loved the forest. I loved the cave that they chose. I did like when it came to location. It was always something new. They used every space well. The camera did so well. Every character, especially this blonde who wasn't really in it that much, like we asked about her. Like every character, every small little character we asked about. But yeah, flat 0, indifferent. Gonna forget that we watched this.
I do think the fate of Preacher is a huge plot hole. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that he was maybe killed and they just cut it. Like maybe it was too violent to show this guy be, executed by these Russian soldiers. But it felt like something was missing.
Mm-hmm. And it was Preacher. Yeah.
Aside from that, I felt like I had another point to make, but we're at the 2 hour
You already forgot.
I've already forgotten this movie.
All right. Remember to mace directly in the face.
Take care, comb your hair. Bye.
Bye.